Welcome to the Nerd Party.
They can travel anywhere in time and space.
Off we go into time and space.
So all of time and all of space is sitting out there.
Welcome to Time and Space, one married couple's adventure through the Doctor Who universe. I'm Jessica Nunn.
And I'm her number one companion, Phillip Gilfus.
To be fair, I've not looked at your ranking objectively.
Right.
I mean, I feel like at the moment it's a fairly subjective choice.
I mean, you're the only companion you've had for this series.
That's true, yes.
I mean, I'm looking forward to you regenerating.
I'm just looking forward to getting a new companion. Killing you off like Adric.
I'll have a star, though. I'm very good at maths.
Yeah. What have we been up to this week, baby?
As far as Doctor Who stuff, I don't know. I mean, we're watching, as always, our Matt Smith rewatch. We're about to finish up his first series. So we just finished the Pandorca Opens, and then we'll be finishing up with the Big Bang. It's always curious, of course, to watch the extras. I've never been a big extras person when it comes to media, you know. But it's been cute to watch them have their little video diaries, Matt and Karen, and
yeah, no, I've quite enjoyed it.
So they seem to be having fun on set during their time. Of course, they're young, so. But yeah, it's been nice. And then I do like the little featurettes. They're always nice about the aliens, and they had a little featurette about sort of what the Pandorca Opens with sort of, they call it the Alliance, all the different aliens that sort of bounded together to fight the Doctor and put him in the Pandorca. So that was sort of a nice thing about having all the aliens come.
Yeah, and really, like, I don't think, and this is the third or fourth time that I've seen this episode, and I don't think I've looked that closely. Like, I knew the Sontarans were there because they have lines, Cybermen, the Daleks, you know, and obviously there are some others who stand out that you see, but realizing just how many of them there are.
And then the Romans are the Autons.
Yeah. Do we see those at another time?
Mm-hmm. We saw the first one with the Third Doctor's first episode, and then the Ninth Doctor's first episode, the Plastic People. The man
right.
And the hand comes out and the gun shoots.
Yeah, all right. That makes sense.
Yes.
I didn't make that connection either. See, you should do some featurettes for this DVD, or just for me.
Yeah.
Do a featurette, baby. Go.
You're a featurette. And then, of course, it's been some drip drop with the new series stuff and different, I don't know, toys, for lack of a better word, coming out. So, I don't know, we'll have to get ourselves, I guess, a 13th Sonic. I don't know. I was never enjoyed the 12th Doctor's Sonic, because I don't think
Neither did the 12th Doctor, apparently.
Exactly. I mean, I just, well, for one thing, I like a little longevity in the Sonic. So, like, the 9th and 10th Doctor used the same model, more or less. And so I like that it continues in the 11th Doctor, then had his, which I like. I actually like that the most. Has a little spring action or whatever. But then, like, the 12th one, like, did he need his own? Couldn't he have just used the 11th? I mean, I know he did it for a second. He used the 11th Doctor's one, but I don't know. But it seemed like his just got, it's like the iPhone. It kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so, like, the 12th Doctor was all clunky and disco ball lighting up. And I was just like, okay, it's a little much.
Okay.
So I like the 13th Doctor one, what little I've seen. It's a little bit more smaller, it's a little more 9th, 10th Doctor-y.
For woman hands.
Exactly. I like that it actually does have a grip. It's not just a sort of straight tool. It does actually have a bend to it. Ergonomic for your hand, I guess. So.
Yeah, I bet that's what they thought about, too.
Exactly.
I, on the other hand, just want either sonic or hallucinogenic lipstick. That's what I'm going for, I'll be honest. But, and they have sort of confirmed, yeah, definitely, probably October.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking anyway. So.
Yeah.
If they had not said October, that would be weird, so.
Yeah, with an eye towards finishing it up.
By Christmas.
In time to do a Christmas
and then have
episode,
Christmas,
yeah. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
We do love a good Christmas episode.
And the one thing, when we get into our topic, one thing I sort of stumbled upon with Doctor Who, not always paying attention to it, is the weird gaps in seasons or series. That even for like entire Doctors, or even within Doctor series, but like for instance, and you know, they're terrible with it, even with New Who, so like, Jodie, the 13th Doctor, will have her first series now. 10 episodes and a Christmas special in 2018. So like, when's the next one? And it probably won't be till like December 2019. They just have these huge gaps.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's fairly typical of British television, though.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the logic behind it, but that's just how they roll, yo.
Cool.
Word. Right, so before we can watch the 13th Doctor, I'm a big believer that we have to figure out where she might fall in the canon. Everybody has their favorite Doctor, or set of Doctors. In the end, everyone's list is entirely subjective. But is it possible to create an objective ranking of the Doctors? Inspired by the American Football College team rankings, we'll see if we can objectively rank the Doctors from 1 to 12.
Sure, and for those not familiar with the ranking system for American college football,
which may or may not include us,
the sports writers, sports journalists across the country will be asked to poll. There's a poll to rank the college teams, and for a variety of measurements, whatever I'm looking for.
Yeah, no, I like
reasons you look to quantify them. But it's not just like, oh, I like the team, though it could be. But it's like, what's the strength of schedule in their league?
Yeah, it's not even, it's the winningest team.
Right.
Because strength of schedule, as you say, is an important point.
And there's sort of different things of where, like, an expectations game. Because, like, if you're a number, I'm trying to think of the example here. So, like, say you're a number 2 team and you beat, like, a number 10 or an unranked team, that could still lower your rank because you have to beat them by a lot if you're number 2.
Yeah. And
if you lose, then you're going to go way down. And so it's sort of, the expectations, if we rank you high, we expect great things from you, where if you're ranked low or even unranked, then, whatever. But then, because I remember, being from, I went to school at East Carolina University, which is, has had times when it's been ranked as a football team.
I can believe that.
Yeah. And so, but it's been stuff where, like, they beat, I remember the year I was in school. This was during one of the hurricanes. And when I was going to school, and we flooded out the college, actually closed the university for several weeks, I think. But anyway, we ended up beating the University of Miami, which is the Hurricanes.
Oh, no.
Yes, and so, but that was they're a pretty good team at the time, and they may still be, but that kind of got us up in the rankings, and so, but of course you still got to perform at that level, so, but that's sort of thing, using a variety of things, not just I like them, or they're good, but a variety of features of how they perform, what's their strength of schedule, what's their coaching, blah, 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 to try to create an objective list, which still has subjective elements, but at least using these different measurements to sort of guide you.
Yeah. I, on the other hand, went to a liberal arts university with no football team, so I got nothing for you.
That's
but
right.
I'm willing to give this the old college try. See what I did there?
So we're going to be ranking the Doctors.
Yes.
And so Jessica and I are both going to do it. I mean, we're going to talk about it, of course. But we'll see if...
we're not going to talk about it. We are going to sit here in silence and write out lists. That's going to be this podcast. It's going to be riveting.
Or riveting.
Don't know.
Yeah.
No. You're just trying to be funny because I was funny, and that's just embarrassing for everyone.
So I know you said you did some research, but the way I've sort of, just to start us off with, I mean, we're going to go in order. Why not, right? But I've sort of researched how many serials... or stories. I mean, I suppose the New Who has serials, but I just call them stories, even though, whatever. But anyway, how many serials each Doctor had. And this is going, I think I went off Wikipedia or something. But anyway, so, it may be 1 or 2 or 3 in either direction, margin of error, but, you get the grand number at least, or the estimate. Then, how many actual episodes they did, and then the years. So, I mean, that's all I have. So I have number of serials, plus number of episodes, and the actual calendar years. I chose Julian for this one.
Good call there. Good call.
Yeah.
I think we ought to start with who has the most.
Okay, well, we can do that. It's going to
sort of
make me hurt my brain, but I can do that.
Start shifting things.
Okay, so having the most... Okay, so I'm going to just go off serials just because it's the number in front of me first. The most serials would be the 4th Doctor.
Yes.
So that would be...
he also has the most episodes.
Right. According to my numbers, and you may have different ones, audience, but I have 41 serials for the 4th Doctor, in 172 episodes, and he served in the TARDIS, if you will, from 1974 to 1981. Which is always weird. I always think of him as an 80s doctor, but he's really a 70s doctor.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's just me. So now, are we talking about the character? I guess we should define some terms. Are we talking about the doctor character, or are we kind of thinking about the actor as well?
I think we can probably include both.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
I was thinking just character, because then I don't know. But then because if you get into a spoiler, if we get to like a John Hurt,
But I think that should count a bit.
Okay.
In terms of, how well known he is, how preeminent, I think that should, while I don't think that's going to bump him up to number one, because he only had one episode, or one episode in a mini-sode, I think it should, it still may push him ahead of, for instance, possibly, and I don't know, we haven't done this yet, possibly the 8th Doctor.
Okay. Well, let's
that sort of thing. So
let's do the top 3, and then we'll see where we go from there. So the top 3 would be, we're both writing our list down. The 4th Doctor, I said, is number 1, and apologize to the audience. This is going to take me a little bit to go up and down here. So I'm going to look at episodes, because serials and stories just get a little weird here.
3rd Doctor has the next number, with 128 episodes.
Yeah, so then you have the 3rd Doctor, like you said. So there we go. 3rd Doctor, John Pertwee. And then you have the 2nd Doctor with 127. So very close. They're basically a number off. So I have the 3rd Doctor with 24 serials and 128 episodes. I have the 2nd Doctor, Pat Troughton, with 23 serials and 127 episodes. And they both more or less served 4 years. Well, I have the 2nd Doctor is 66 through 69, and the 3rd Doctor is 70 through 74. But again, once I started doing this research, it's so weird how these years work. Like they'd have 3 episodes or something. It just depends how the season broke out. With 2, 3, and 4, where does that put your list, darling, so far?
2, 3, and 4. So I've looked up, because I think that this is a strength of season kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I looked up their companions.
Okay.
So the 4th Doctor has Sarah Jane, Harry, Leela, K9, Romana's 1 and 2, Adric, Tegan, and Nissa. Mm-hmm. Which I think is a pretty good lineup. Particularly Sarah Jane.
Right. Very iconic.
And K9, again, as you say, very iconic. So I kept him at number 1. Mm-hmm. 3rd Doctor has Liz, Jo, and Sarah Jane.
Right, Liz. I was going to try to remember her name the other day.
Yeah. And again, I like Sarah Jane again. I'm thinking I'm going to leave it as it is, because then the 2nd Doctor has Polly, Ben, Jamie, Zoe, and Victoria.
Right, he's sort of stayed constant with his people most of the time.
Yeah. And I like Jamie in particular. But, yeah, I think I'm going to leave that in that order. 4th, 3rd, and 2nd.
4th, 3rd, see. I have 4th, 2nd, and 3rd. So this is my understanding. So I think 4th, we listened to a podcast a couple weeks ago where they basically did this for Shakespeare characters. And they put Hamlet in first place, which we both don't agree with. But anyway, I think the 4th Doctor is Hamlet. I think it's hard not to put him in. I'm not saying whether he'll remain first, but such an iconic role. Now, look, he has the longest time, so is that a bit of a cheat? But longevity doesn't necessarily mean quality. It could just mean,
that's true. Yeah, but I think that's, again, also up against these companions.
Right. And so I think with the 4th Doctor, with the different companions, he was, it wasn't totally different, but he had a different relationship with the different companions. Sarah Jane, he had sort of, was a good sort of foil for him. I mean, not foil, but back and forth. But then Leela, he was a little bit more the Henry Higgins for that, but then they all took care of themselves. And then with the Romanas, that was sort of a different relationship, with the Time Lady and all that, and then with the gang by the end.
Yeah, and I think they're all interesting. Many of them are companions that we continue to think about, particularly Sarah Jane. So, yeah.
And then I think with the 4th Doctor, the reason I have him as 1 currently is because he can make an episode. It doesn't matter whether the story's good or bad. he can make it. So if it's a bad story, and they've happened, it's like, well, but it's the Fourth Doctor doing his thing, making the funnies or being serious or being that character. And to me, he often can rise above a bad story, or at least you're still entertaining. Like if it's not about him, you're like, ugh. But then it gets back to him, you're like, okay, well, the Fourth Doctor's in this. So now for my 2 and 3. I think a challenge for me for the Third Doctor, and also, let me be upfront, I haven't seen a lot of him, but he's stuck on Earth.
True.
Which is not his fault. But, I mean, as far as stories, I think with the Second Doctor, he has the challenge of being the Second Doctor. So, that I think gives him a plus, or at least a challenge that he has to overcome of trying to create this character again, or the illusion of, is he Bill Hartnell again, or is he a new character, or, whatever. But I think we all bought it. I don't know, maybe we just all went with it. But anyway, and so I think that sort of is a plus for him. I think he does have a lot of good stories. I think he does create his own character of this Second Doctor.
Completely different from the First Doctor.
Mm-hmm. And then I think he does have these different companions, but as I said again, a little bit more longevity, especially with the Jamie era, which is basically like 90% of his time. But I always enjoy him. Again, I think he's a different character than them all, but another one who I like to watch.
And I'll be honest, I think you've talked me into it. I've switched mine.
You have switched? Okay. And the third Doctor, and again, maybe I just haven't seen enough, but nothing wrong with him. I think he is sort of, I always think of him as the James Bond Doctor. The sort of gentleman, I mean, sort of the old school James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think, not Sean Connery, but the other classic Bond.
Roger Moore.
I used to think of the Roger Moore of Doctors. Sort of the gentleman, but still action-packed. But, so, maybe I need to watch more of him. It's not that I don't like him, but I think that was sort of his challenge was being on Earth.
Yeah.
The strength of schedule when you go into different planets, different times.
Yep.
But when you're on Earth with units.
And I think that for me may have swung. That might have been your best argument.
Right.
Although I appreciate the difficulty the Second Doctor would have had, because this is the first time we have to do this. Mm-hmm. Create a completely new character from the same character. So yeah, I think much more challenging. So yeah, I'm sticking with that. So at the minute, we're at 4th, 2nd, and 3rd.
Okay.
Next up, in terms of longevity, is the First Doctor.
Okay, First Doctor.
At 126.
Right.
Then after that, 126 episodes.
And then we start to drop.
Yeah. Then we go to the 5th Doctor with 72. And then we move up to the 11th Doctor at 41.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is gonna be hard. I'll go first this time, I guess. So First Doctor, I mean, he's the First Doctor, so I think there's a lot of challenge there to being the first. You have to set this entire world. You have to create the character. I'm trying to figure out all my objective things, because I think he's an interesting character, because he is sort of the crabby old man, but occasionally with the heart of gold. And I think he has a lot of good companions who, well, that's not true. Oh, in other words, I was trying to say he has a lot of good companions. He does, but he also does tend to have some stereotypes. His granddaughter basically yells and twists her ankle, and so it's sort of a little bit tropish with her. Not to take anything away from a Time Lady. So I feel like he has to go up in the rankings because he is the first to establish his character, and he's iconic. It wasn't just like, oh, it was this bad character, and then they kept going, and then he got better. But no, I think the First Doctor has these moments of establishing rules, of sort of being this guidance. I mean, but then also he often totters a bit sometimes. So I'm going to currently put him after 2 and before 3.
All right. I did that as well.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
I did, yeah.
Okay. So, anything else, First Doctor, you want to say then?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he'll stay in my top 5.
Right. Okay.
But
for now. So the 5th Doctor, this is going to be hard because I really like the 5th Doctor, so I'm going to have to talk myself out of making him too high in the rankings. So the 5th Doctor. So challenge coming after 4. I mean, it's not as big of a challenge as, the 2nd Doctor or the 1st Doctor. But nevertheless.
But somebody who had such a long run. I mean, he has 172 episodes, and the only person coming close to that has 128.
Yep, and it's basically the 5th Doctor has 100 less episodes.
Yeah.
You go from 1974 to 1981, and Peter Davison, as the 5th Doctor, had 82 to 84. So, yeah. And there's sort of this quite downscaling after all this. But anyway, so he doesn't have a lot of great stories, in my opinion. I am not a fan, and again, this is subjective, I guess, but a lot of master stories. Like, I'm going to have to actually do my research to back up what I'm saying, but I'm fairly sure a lot of master stories, which I think is overdone. Not the greatest companions. I'm not a Tegan hater.
I have on the list, just for record's sake, Adric, Tegan, Nissa, Vislor, Chameleon, Perry.
Right. Yeah. Well, Vislor, that's his first name. He's not known by that. It's his last name he's known by. Okay. It's the redhead who I always hate. The schoolboy. I don't remember his name.
Oh, right. I know who you're talking about.
Anyway, I can't remember. But anyway, so I'm blocking him out. Not great companions. I mean, I'm a Nissa fan. I know you're not. That's fine. Turlo. That's it. Turlo is his name.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I'm not a fan of all of his companions. I'm not a fan of his stories. And that's just me. I like him, though. I like him. And I do like Nissa. But,
we're trying to be objective.
Well, I'm just saying, as far as strength, if we have to judge them by their companions and their stories, and I'm not a classic expert, but I think there's a lot of Fifth Doctor stories where you're like, yeah, okay. he's often criticized, and I don't know if I buy into it, but he's also criticized as often getting things wrong and not necessarily ever being the hero, or solving things or saving people. He's a more very human Doctor, if you will. And so I think that's going to hurt him. Even though I enjoy him, but I think it's one of the things, like, there's a lot of things against him. And so, I don't know. I just, I don't know whether to put him above or below 3 right now.
Oh, okay. I put him above.
Okay. You know what? Just because I'm going to give a little room, since I don't know 3 that well, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, you're going to put 3 ahead of 5?
I'm going to put 3 above a 5 for now.
All right. And then 11.
All right. Oh, this is hard. Well, what do you think? I mean, 11, obviously, even though he's not my first Doctor, I know there's that whole thing like, oh, your first Doctor's your best. Because I technically started with 10, I guess, but then I retroactively watched 9. But 11 was the first Doctor I started with in real time. Like, I watched his first episode as it aired and all that stuff. So that's hard for me to let him go. But that said, so better than 5, better than 3. Why? Because there's engaging stories,
and I think that for me,
they're not all great, but they're mostly great. There's not a lot of clunkers in the 11th Doctor.
You've got Amy, Rory, Clara as his companions, all of which I think are phenomenal. River Song, if you want to chuck her in there as well, who is also phenomenal. And I think, rewatching this first series of his, and, like I said, I've watched Pandorica Opens 3 or 4 times. I still enjoyed it when I watched it today. We watched Vincent and the Doctor the other day.
Which is my favorite. I think that's my favorite Doctor Who episode of all time.
And I cried, just like I do every time I see it. And I've seen it and seen it and seen it. And so I think the strength of the companions, the stories, all of the things that are happening, I put him just under 4.
And I'll just think about this as I talk. So with the 11th Doctor, what do I like? And maybe this is subjective, I know, but he a young man, Matt Smith, an actor, but I've always believed he played that old man well. He's the quirky old man at this point in the Doctor's life. I believed it. Maybe I'm just a sucker for going with the story, but I thought, there's a danger to getting that young of an actor, with Peter Davison, the 5th Doctor. But I think Matt Smith did it well. When you say holding his own with River Song, that's she's Alex is a great actress, but that making that relationship believable, his whole story setting, this first series is good. It's not great. It's good. Vincent is a great one. And the first episode, I think his first episode is great, 11th Hour. But I think he definitely gets into his own maybe in the second series a little bit more, just because I think the story's a little bit more epic. Well, I say that. The sort of silence gets a little weird. It
does get a little weird,
but anyway,
and I would agree
after
with that. But it's also really well thought out. It gets weird, and I don't like the silence. They make me personally uncomfortable, but It's beautifully thought out. The Impossible Astronaut?
Yes.
And even The Big Bang, which we're going to watch next, all of the timing things of this is the way it played out, I just find exquisite.
And the 11th Doctor does give good speeches, which I think is not a bad thing, obviously.
No, it's important.
And
although the 7th Doctor did a good version of it.
And the fact that the 11th Doctor, plays this sort of, what we know of the Doctor, who's always been fun, adventurous, a little bit dangerous at times, but I think the 11th Doctor is sort of almost the climax of the power of the Doctor, as River warns him, but we see him reaching his sort of climax of being the almost powerful god, and then sort of coming down a bit, especially with the Dalek stuff when he tries to wipe his memory out
and all of that. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you made a good point, and particularly because we watched the 7th Doctor do the 11th Doctor's Pandorica speech, and he did a great job with it, but it was much lighter, in the same vein that the 7th Doctor was very light. But I think the 11th Doctor has that balance. I can do light, I can do goofy, the wonderful moment where he's talking to Rory and then, 3 minutes later realizes it's Rory that he's talking to in the Pandorica Opens. And he does just some great, his mouth drops open and his physical comedy is brilliant. But then he can still, who's coming first? Bring it,
bring the steel.
Yeah, it's really, really lovely. So
there's an emotional.
So where are you going to stick him?
I'm putting him under 4 right now.
Okay.
And because another moment, and again, is that, again, this emotional range, I'm trying to make it, but there's little things of the 11th Doctor. Like, I remember in his last episode, like the very, very last episode, when Clara hears the prophecy, the Doctor has a secret, and the secret is his grave, or what, I forget how the phrase goes. But anyway, when the Doctor, and he's sitting in her house, and he hears it, and she's like busy with tea, and looks, and he's suddenly like sort of dumbstruck and about to cry because he realizes his grave has been found. And this moment of emotional whatever I think it's just a poignant, great moment of the Doctor.
So just under 4.
Yeah, just under 4. I know I'm doing a lot for that, but that's what I'm doing.
All right, so for me, right now, my top 5 are 4, 11, 2, 1, 5.
Okay, and right now I'm 4, 11, 2, 1, 3.
Okay. Now, I've buggered it up a little bit. I put the 11th in too soon. First of all, the 10th and the 11th are a little bit...
Okay, that's all right.
In that the 10th Doctor has 44 episodes and 33 stories. The 11th Doctor has 41 episodes and 36 stories. So they're very close. But also the 7th Doctor has 42 episodes. So he falls right in there as well.
So 10 and 7? You just want to deal with those two right now?
7 and 12 would be the next one.
All right, this is going to be a big one here. All right, you go first. Where are you putting 10?
10. Again, some great companions. Rose, Ricky Mickey, Martha, Donna. Some great stories. He's definitely one of my favorites. I'm going to put him under 11. That was a deep sigh from you.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where to put him. I don't know if being iconic gets you points, but I mean, the 10th Doctor is iconic, I feel like, as a Doctor. His time in the TARDIS was he had that sort of specials period, but 2006 to 2010, not necessarily continuously, but at least, that long as the Doctor is, a few more years than we've had, Chris, the 9th Doctor had 1 year, because he just,
and I think
11th Doctor was just a couple years, 12th Doctor was just a couple years, but 10th Doctor had sort of the longest of New Who.
Yes, and I think that he is probably most New Who watchers' first Doctor, simply because Eccleston only did 1 season. And so Eccleston isn't the one that people think about. as often as Tennant
And it's
is.
David Tennant, of course. So, I mean, you can't ignore the fact that it's an actor who's works a lot, is great in almost everything he does.
Yeah.
And so...
And seems perfectly delightful.
Yeah, and is sort of the Doctor. You know, I mean, he is always going to be the Doctor, just as I always think Tom Baker's always going to be the Doctor. But, you know, so I'm struggling of where to put him. Like, I could put him under 11, I could put him under 2, I could put him under 1 even. And so I don't know if that means that you should put him at the lowest if you can't really feel justified putting him, you know, that the highest that you can. So, I guess this is subjective, but I guess it is a bit of like, oh, let's watch an episode with this Doctor. You're like, yeah. You're like,
No, I think that's fair.
What are we going to get?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So... But the 2 and 1, I mean, you know, it's class. I think at least in my list, I do sort of do some corrections between classic and new. You know, allow a margin because you know classic can crawl at times, but that's, you know, if you sort of speed it up in your head a little bit, there is good stuff in there. So, all right, I'm going to split the difference because I can't make a decision. I'm going to put 10 between 2 and 1.
I knew you were going to do that.
Because, I think... I'm now surprised I've ranked 2 so high. but because I think... Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So my top 5 would currently be 4, 11, 2, 10, 1.
And mine is 4, 11, 10, 2, 1.
Okay, so the 7th Doctor.
Yeah. 7th Doctor. First of all, he had Mel and Ace.
Right.
Big fan of Ace in particular. Mel's alright, but
Yeah.
Ace.
Ace
is Ace.
I think the challenge with the 7th Doctor, and this is very sort of behind the scenes, but look, Doctor Who's going to get canceled, or, you know, after the 6th Doctor, they're like, the days are numbered. Yeah. The ratings are not good. You know, it could have just fallen into, I know maybe some say they did, but could have just fallen into, like, the last gasp, and which I did kind of gasp at the end, but, you know, not necessarily anything that Sylvester McCoy did. But I think he was going 100%. He was giving it his all, it seems like. He created this character... And I was pleasantly surprised the first time I did my watch of the 7th Doctor, because I didn't know what to expect, and I was like, it's the 80s, it's the end of the franchise get killed from this Doctor, so, but I'm like, oh man, there's a lot going on in this. I mean, they're trying to engage the stories, they sort of have the conniving Doctor, the plotting Doctor, and I think just, even though it's only, I mean, I'm going to ignore Mel for a second, I think with the A7 is a great relationship. I mean, it's Professor, it's you know, it's him building her up and just going for things. And so, I mean, I think there's a lot to 7. So that being said, where do I put him? Well, I don't know, but 3 and 5 are sort of being the bottom to me. I don't think 3 and 5 are going to get any higher than where they are right now. So 7, oh no. Okay, just so I'm just going to have to make a decision. So right now, just because I'm sort of in this 2, 10, 1 area, I'm going to put 7, all right, just below 10. And I might regret that. Because I was just thinking like, okay, we're going to watch an episode. It's going to be the 7th Doctor. I'll be like, okay, which one? Whereas the 10th Doctor, I'll be like, okay, whatever. I'm sure. So that's mine.
I also put him underneath 10, which for me puts him in 4th, but for you puts him in 5th.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, I like Ace. I like some of the episodes that we've seen. The one with the cats, the last one.
Survival, I think.
And the one where the guy turns into be a bad guy. Oh, the different Daleks. That was the... Mm-hmm. So I like what I've seen. I find him kind of fun. So I put him underneath 10, which makes my top 5 4, 11, 10, 7, and 2.
Yeah, mine's 4, 11, 2, 10, 7.
Yeah. 12th Doctor is next.
All right. So, how are we rating Peter Capaldi, our most recent occupant of the TARDIS? If you look at it, of New Who, he's had the few, I mean, other than 9. I mean, we're putting 9 aside for a second. Yeah. Special circumstances, right? But anyway, the shortest of all the Doctors, and it does feel like it, honestly. Doesn't feel like he was there for a long time, you know. I
think that they part of that is the consistency in terms of consistency of airing the episodes. Mm-hmm. That said,
I mean, it's not that many behind the 11 because he has 36 episodes compared to 11's 41 and 10's 44. So I mean, he's in the ballpark. But I did notice that whatever the number of episodes that 10 and 11 had per series, like say it was 13, I could be wrong. Peter had like 12. Or is like they had 12 and he had 11. It was like it was one down. I was kind of like, I don't know.
You think they hobbled him from the start?
Well, I think a lot of things hobbled him from the start. If
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest about it. But that's getting a little subjective, perhaps. But anyway, I think he had two companions. I mean, he had more than that, but the two big companions. You know, he had, of course, Clara, which did not work out, in our opinion, which is subjective, maybe, but.
Yeah, but I think when you're looking at strength of season, Clara just couldn't pull it together for him. I don't enjoy it. I love her with 11. I just find her dull with 12.
Because I probably said this before, upon doing my Capaldi rewatch, I enjoyed it more, but I think it's because I already knew his character. Whereas watching it the first time, he was not him personally, the actor, but anyway, the show was, however, was finding that character, and you're like, I don't know if I like him, or what's he's doing, or he doesn't like hugs, and he's anti-army, and that doesn't make sense, because he likes UNIT, and what's going on. But by the end of it, you're like, I kind of know the character, and then when you watch it again, you're like, okay, well, that's him. Mm-hmm. But the first time, it was just like, I don't think they know, and we don't know, and I don't know. But
then I think once they stick him with Bill,
it works out.
Magic happens. And he has you talk about the 11th having some great speeches.
Yes.
The 12th has just some phenomenal speeches. Just some brilliant ones. I'm putting him under 10.
Okay. I'm... my bottom of the barrel is 3 and 5, which I feel so bad 5 is last. I hope that is not how the list ends up. But anyway, I think I'm around 7-1. I'm going to put him... Okay, we're going to watch a 12th Doctor episode. I would probably be which one? So I'm going to put him, for the moment, below 7.
Okay. So what's your top 5 look like?
Right now my top 5 is 4, 11, 2, 10, 7.
And mine is 4, 11, 10, 12, 7.
Okay. All right.
Next up is the 6th Doctor.
Okay, go ahead.
That's all I've got to say about that.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't...
He has 27 episodes. I mean, he basically served a year, 1985 to 1986. I mean, 10 serials.
He had Perry and Mel.
Right. And he sort of suffered, you can say I'm either being positive or negative, he suffered in his last season, or series, if you will, from having the short Trial of the Time Lord. Like, that was the entire series. It wasn't, like, how many episodes you would ever have. It was just this one long story. And that's good or bad, right? We're trying something different, be serialized instead of just episodic. And, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing, necessarily. I don't be like, oh, my God, they did that, and that's terrible. It was an idea, and I don't think it was a bad idea. You know, sort of using a story to be a stories and stories, you know. And that was fine. But I think it does hurt him for quantity, obviously. I mean, you can argue that's good or bad. But yeah, 6th Doctor, I don't know.
Perry.
Perry is just not helpful to him.
No, not at all. I put the 6th Doctor at the bottom.
I have to. Because, like, it basically, you know, 5th Doctor, if I'm using this as my 5th Doctor episode, okay, which one? But, I mean, it's the 5th Doctor, whatever. The 6th Doctor, I'm going to be like, oh, God, do I have to? Right? Yeah. Do I have to? Because, yeah, and maybe, I don't know, I would like, if you are a 6th Doctor fan, I know he lives on in Big Finish, and that, I'm not talking about Big Finish 6th Doctor, but actual unscreened 6th Doctor, if you are a 6th Doctor fan, I would love to hear from you, not to argue. I mean, I'd just like to hear, you know, tweet at me and say, hey, this is why I like him, and I'll be like, okay, maybe something I just don't see, because he's just, to me, just always arrogant, which I know that's the character. He's supposed to be arrogant and irritating, but it just doesn't work for me.
But I like to like my doctors.
Yeah, and I get it. You can have a dark side, and that's fine. And of course, he never had a chance to show perhaps where that came from, like a 12 did. You know,
yes, yeah.
2 seasons, or whatever. 27 episodes doesn't give you a lot of time to breathe. You know, so
yeah, absolutely. And I think again, if you're going to have a doctor who is a little bit unlikable as a character, you can't stick him with somebody like Perry. You know, stick him with Bill. That would have been interesting.
Oh, you're right.
But Perry, who is also just
awful.
I
mean, and to be fair, she's not awful. She should just have her positive moments, but she's more irritating than not.
Yes,
she's the most likely to twist her ankle, wear a tight outfit, revealing outfit for no apparent reason,
dress like Olivia Newton-John. Yeah. There are all sorts of things. So,
and the shrill American doesn't really help.
No. So you putting 6 at the bottom?
I'm putting 6 at the bottom.
Okay, that's where I put him. 9.
This is a hard one. It is a hard one. To me, a hard one. So 13 episodes, of course, only served 2005, 10 stories. Chris Eccleston, though, so obviously Chris Eccleston, 9th Doctor.
Also, much like 2, having to
restart the franchise. Yeah, and that's a lot to carry on his shoulders, on his leather shoulders with his jacket there,
on his leather northern shoulders, and he's got Rose.
Right, which I don't know. Nothing against Rose. Rose, I'm not a big Rose fan. I mean, but I don't have anything against her. So if you're a big Rose fan, then
okay, then let me also check out. He also has Jack.
That's true. That is true.
See?
I'm a bigger Jack fan, if I'm going to be honest. So, and he did make out with him, too. So, anyway. It's hard for me to get away from the shortness. I mean, quality. Quality in the 9th Doctor.
He seemed like a perfectly reasonable height, darling.
But, we're watching a 9th Doctor episode. I'm there. It's going to be great. Well, it should be. I mean, I can't think of a bad 9th Doctor. There's only so many, right? So, it's hard to get away from... I'm going to put him below 1.
Whoa.
That's me.
Okay. I put him just below 12.
Okay. Which for me would have been one more up.
Okay, fair enough.
I have 1 above 9,
but
above that 12.
That puts him in my 5th spot.
Okay, so that puts him in my bottom. He's the 4th up from my bottom.
Yeah, because I think that, as you say, it's short, but the stories are really good. Rose and Jack, in my opinion, both are really, really strong. He's having to restart the whole thing, and he's a name already. And so he's actually invested in terms of he's put something, as an actor, Christopher Eccleston put something on the line there to reboot this.
So now I'm questioning myself, because now I've noticed I have 12 above 9. I mean, and I'm telling myself that can't be right.
You don't think 12 goes above 9? I've got 9 just below 12. Although now you're making me rethink that, and I hate you for it. No, I'm sticking with it because the speeches push me over the edge.
Right.
And Bill.
And again, it helps. If the 9 had a couple Christmas specials under his belt, maybe it would give him some opportunities. Yes. So I guess he doesn't have a lot of opportunities, so that hurts him. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't get out of that. You can't get out that there's only so many episodes. It'd be like, when we talk about the 8th Doctor, you're either going to love him or hate him, and that's all you got, So, yeah, I'll keep him where he is. I'm keeping him where he is.
Okay. And 8th Doctor.
So this is a hard one. This is, because, what do you do? What do you measure? You got the TV movie, which is obviously not great. You have the mini-sode, which I would argue is awesome. Mm-hmm. Of course, but it's only a mini-sode. It's sort of we redeemed the character. Now, are we including Big Finish or not? I would say not, but you can argue for yes.
I say yes because, and you can correct me on this, maybe, but I think he's the most
iconic of the Big Finish.
Yes. So when I Wikipedia'd companions, and they gave me this big long list, for the 8th, they gave me Grace, Lucy, and Charlotte. Mm-hmm. And Lucy and Charlotte are both from Big Finish. Right. Yeah. And so I would also argue longevity.
And then Paul McGann, I mean, he's very engaging.
Mm-hmm. And again, I didn't particularly like the movie. But I think for longevity, for being and again, because he was just the link between old and new.
Right. He's sort of the asterisk. Is he classic? Is he new? Is he neither? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I think is really difficult. So for him, as a Doctor, to continue to live on so beautifully, and he really has, I'm thinking about putting him above 9.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say below 9. Okay. Because I mean, we're gonna watch the 8th Doctor. Like, there's a movie, or they have many episodes. So No, but if I said we're going to listen to a Big Finish, but maybe if you include that, we're going to listen to a Big Finish. Which one? 8th. Oh, okay. I would always look forward to that.
And I also
it's a little bit of an investment.
really like Sheridan Smith.
Right.
I just find her a delight. But I hate Eric Roberts, or I'm not a big Eric Roberts fan.
Right. So
read a lovely article about Eric Roberts in Vanity Fair, and I find him interesting, but
yeah,
I don't usually like him.
So, and again, I'm just the strength of schedule. He only has a TV. I mean, that hurts him. I mean, there's no way it doesn't hurt him. So I'm saying below 9.
I think you're right. I'm going to do that too. Darn it, you talked me into it. All right,
Who's
so
left? Oh, well, I know who we have left, but let me just. So we got. Well, I'm just doing the quick. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, we've covered. I've checked all of that. We've covered all of them.
Do we do War Doctor or not?
Do we do Peter Cushing or not?
Oh God. So I know he'll be last on your list.
He will indeed. Do we do second and third First Doctors?
So I think we're not gonna do the War Doctor.
Yeah.
Let's not.
Okay.
Let's not say.
So who's your top 5?
Okay, so my top 5 is the 4th Doctor, then the 11th Doctor, then the 2nd Doctor, then the 10th Doctor, and then the 7th Doctor.
Wow.
So I mean, this exercise is fun because how much does it surprise me, or how does it not? So 4 and 11 is not surprising, so that maybe a lot of bias is coming through there, or maybe it's just that's how things are, because they would be my favorite. Now, I honestly I'd put 11 maybe above 4 personally, but that's not what happened here. So I'm surprised 2nd got as high as he did, but he did. I mean, so I'm looking forward to watching some more 2nd Doctor episodes, and maybe that'll either change my mind or not. I am surprised 10th Doctor is as high as he is, because I'm personally not as big of a huge 10 fan as a lot of people are. I mean, nothing against him, but I'm just like, okay, he's there. 7th Doctor doesn't surprise me, so, but anyway.
And I went 4, 11, 10, 12, and 9. Okay. Biggest surprise for me is 4.
Right.
Because I'm generally not a huge classic fan. But I really wanted to try and be objective about it. I didn't want this just to be about ranking, the most recent. Which is one of the reasons I think I struggled with where to put 8. Because I didn't want to be too biased about it. Mm-hmm. But as you say, we're going to watch the 8th Doctor. We're going to watch him?
Or listen to him.
Yeah. So I did go with that. In terms of the New Who, it doesn't surprise me at all. I'm a little sad. I quite like Pertwee.
Right.
And I'm not 100% sure why. I just kind of like it.
Yeah.
And he's down at the very bottom for me, and on this list. Yeah. Which I'm a little sad about.
Well, I'm sad that 5 is next to the bottom. I'm like, man, but I can't argue that he doesn't have a lot of great stories.
Yeah. So yeah, this has been interesting. Yeah, and what we really want people to do now is tweet us and tell us all the ways that we're wrong. Well, because that's fun, isn't it?
And then tweet us your list, and give it I'm sure we were subjective, but try to give it an objective standpoint and see if you're surprised when you try and do it that way and make your own list. So, but yeah, feel free to tweet us. I'm at NC Public Servant.
And I'm at One Phoenix Theater.
Or if you just want to tweet us at the network, we always appreciate that. And the Nerd Party Network on Twitter is at Join Nerd Party.
Right. Shall we jump into the library for a quick one?
So for this portion of Into the TARDIS Library, we're going to go with our number 1 selection, the Hamlet of Doctor Who. Yep. And that is the 4th Doctor, because I think I was trying to decide what episode to do, and I think you said who had the most. I said 4th, and you're like, let's do a 4th Doctor. So I suggested an episode that I always or a serial that I always think is very popular as 4th Doctor is City of Death, which premiered 29 September 1979, and the summary from TARDIS.wikia is: while taking in the sights of Paris in 1979, the 4th Doctor and Romana sense that someone is tampering with time. Who is the mysterious Count Scarlione? Why does he seem to have counterparts scattered through time? And just how many copies of the Mona Lisa did Leonardo da Vinci paint?
I think many versions scattered through time. I think that's a little bit misleading, because we only see one of them.
No, we see, sort of in like the flash there's sort of that special effect where it's sort of like a bunch of faces.
Yeah, but we only actually see an encounter. Well, I guess two of them.
Yes.
The one in 1979 and the one hanging out in Da Vinci Studio.
Now, one thing, of course, I always have to do this at least once or try to. One thing Star Trek is famous for in its series
God, here we go.
is doing an episode in the contemporary time. So in the original series, there's an episode in the 1960s, like it's of that time. Voyager has one where they travel back to time to the 90s. I think Enterprise goes to the 21st century. But I felt like it was funny watching this episode, and they're like, oh, they're really doing the period piece. Oh, wait. That's the time the show was made. So I was like, they should know how to do this, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what did you think of City of Death? And with the caveat that this is generally thought of as a pretty good serial.
Why do you have to give that as a caveat?
Well, to you. Whether you think, like, if I built it up, or you're like, oh.
Yeah, no, I liked it all right. I thought it was a good concept. The girl with the cigarette holder I found very distracting. Just because she even had it when she was in the Louvre. Stealing the Mona Lisa, and I was like, why? Why did you bring that with you, and why did you feel the need to light a cigarette right this second? But other than that,
I often question why women feel the need to light cigarettes, but that's neither here nor there.
But other than that, I thought it was interesting. I like Romana. This is Romana 2.
The second Romana.
That's what I was thinking.
The second Romana, darling.
Yeah. Anyway,
equality is annoying.
The second Romana. I like her. She's quite interesting. I loved the detective who could knock down walls with his shoulder, and just wanted to beat people up. So yeah, no, I liked this one a lot. And again, I think it's, he has strong storylines. He has a strong companion there.
Now, this, of course, would not be surprising that the script editor at the time was Douglas Adams.
Oh, yeah, no, that
totally
makes sense. Particularly, like, just this series, or...
Yeah, I think this whole,
because this series in particular is very Douglas Adams.
Yeah. So, yeah, you can definitely tell a lot of his touches, the humor, the time travel, which he does well, with both Hitchhikers and with Dirk Gently. And so, yeah, and I mean, it's a fun, and it goes together. There's no necessarily like down points. In classic, there's down points just because the pacing's a little weird sometimes. But it's all, it all goes together. It flows. There's things going on. It is sort of a madcap adventure through Paris.
Time and space.
Time and space. And
they end up at the beginning of time.
Yes.
The detective guy's like, why do I have goo on my feet? And the doctor's like, oh no.
That's you.
That's your ancestors right there. And then it turns out that if the spaceship didn't explode, then humanity wouldn't have evolved. And so I think it ties with a nice little bow.
I do I think it's sometimes both absurd and cool. Because if you remember when we watched Earthshock when Adric died, that's what caused the dinosaurs to die.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And now we have the explanation of why human beings were created, because the radiation from the crash put together the whatever.
Doctor Who has a lot to answer for, doesn't he?
So, yeah, but no, I do think the soundtrack is very memorable. At times annoying because it's just repeat. And it's like, okay, I got it. But it is memorable, though. I mean, not many Doctor Who soundtracks, I think, are memorable in an episode, especially classic.
I was going to say, yeah, particularly classic, obviously. But so much of the music in New Who repeats itself thematically.
Right.
You've got Bill's song and Clara's song and all of that sort of thing. And so you hear it through multiple episodes.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I always think these sort of comic and interesting... I mean, the Count is an interesting character. Of course, the actor, I think, really brings back... actor's been in a lot of things. I just can't think of his name off the top of my head. But sort of a actor you see in things. He does a good job as the Count. I do think the ending is a bit rushed, though. Because sort of like, he finally goes back in time to stop himself. But he's just sort of like walking around. Hey, I'm going to walk up to the spaceship. And then just like push him over. And like, well, that was easy to solve.
Yeah, that's certainly true. Yeah.
Like we should have had a better plan.
A little more of an episode with it. Yeah, I can see that.
So it did fall apart a little. But even like the doctor, the scientist character was interesting. I mean, sort of this weird, was it German? I don't know.
Yeah, he kept reminding me of Chekhov. There's
maybe.
my Star Trek
Maybe he's
reference
Russian
for
yeah.
you.
But sort of this,
I don't even think he was trying necessarily to be Russian. There was
Okay.
something about his appearance and his demeanor and all of those things. I don't know.
And it sort of had the humor of like, well, I like to sleep. I like to, my bed. Anyway. But anyway, so he basically sounded like Dracula, I guess. So anyway.
So he was Transylvanian.
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
Okay.
That works. Known for their scientists.
And their vampires.
Exactly.
Right. So I think we have gone on ad nauseum. So maybe we should wrap this up and figure out what we're going to talk about next week, my love.
Yeah, so for next week, we're going to try to do a little character focus. We did River Song some time ago. This one we're not going to watch all the episodes for because there's a god-awful amount of them. And we're going to be talking about the Master. And, to include the Missy aspect as well. So I think we'll probably be focusing on the new Who as well, but we'll make, obviously, some references to classic Master. Because I'll tell you what, I'm not the first Master, I don't know that well, so I'm sure that'll probably be our look into the TARDIS library. So that Roger, what's his face?
We get to see Derek Jacobi.
Oh, that's true. There you go, Derek Jacobi, of course.
Or Jacoby.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, we'll be talking all things Master, both and the crazy idea that a Time Lord could regenerate into a woman.
Yes.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's mad. I don't know why anyone would go along with it.
Well, until next time, darling, you will always be ranked as number one in all of time and space to me.
Aw, see, I sort of put you two next to the... I'm just underneath the cat.
Makes sense.
This is BBC Television.